What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let 'em burn it out. Sell 'em to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack.
shit. I gotta start Facebook. I forgot. Hold on just a second. Oh, Facebook. It's so fucking slow, dude. All right, there it goes. Share now. Refresh. All right, I think we got it, chat. You ready? You locked in? Hope so.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves
losers.
that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things
It was like
that
that,
go on,
super realistic, like
the realm
platoon
of
shooter or
Linda
whatever, a
Binda.
section shooter or whatever.
Enjoy the
like
show.
4 to 6 guys
Thanks
or
for
whatever.
watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Shout out to Linda Binda, the real star of the show. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. 6 days in Fallujah. I don't think I played it. I watched a bunch of videos of it. Hold on. I watched a bunch of videos of veterans playing it, and I was thinking, man, that looks like that would be really bad for my PTSD. I think they let a bunch of veterans play it like before it opened or some shit. Real Marines. Is this the video I watched?
I want to give Geopolitical a shout out. These guys have fantastic gameplay. Thank you for them.
Spartan 3. Crazy Horses reporting squirters around the Sheik's house, west of the park.
That big. Is it any good, Dr. J?
That's a Roger. Go punch them in the mouth and see how they handle it.
All right, Leathernecks. Calves open. Got boots hold up in house.
Dubs, you done recce here before. Take point. We'll follow your lead.
Got contacts,
Yep.
12 o'clock down the alley.
All right, Dubs, yeah, take point. Go ahead, take us to where we need to go, and then we'll make tactical decisions as we get there.
Okay, north-northwest bearing 350 is our target building, the one past the clothing on the hanging line. So we can either go west towards the tank.
I remember it was pretty realistic going from building to building, clearing them. I don't know if this is all the gameplay or if this was like a fucking beta or some shit, but.
Orders to the west. Orders! Incoming!
Tight space, tight. Good shot, Steph.
Okay,
Steph, you took a right.
Getting in.
It 1000% is a lot like being overseas for sure. It's on sale. I remember how crazy realistic it looks. There's clearly something broken here. I don't know why that guy's not getting his hitbox messed up or something.
You guys good?
Good stuff.
Stairs.
No, it looks like a cool game.
On me?
Yep, on you.
Cross.
Hey, you want me to smoke? Go ahead. Copy.
This is most replayed section.
Take care of them.
Roger. All right, you ready? Yeah.
How you doing?
That echo there is cool. Where they're going down the stairwell and you can hear the echo.
You got left, Dubs will take right. Okay. Closed door and open door, left side.
Holding.
Close door, left side windows.
Okay. All right. Collapse to me so I can deal with this open door. Check. Get down. Holy.
Here, hold it, hold it. Gonna give him a present. Clear it. War Daddy, we got a door to the basement. Clear it. War Daddy, we got a door to the basement.
Ooh. All right. Open threshold, right side.
I hate that shit.
Copy.
I just watched a movie the other day that fucking fucked with me, but it was like, it was crazy, this movie. So this movie's on Netflix. You should watch it. It's called Sandcastle. And it's about this very specific mission that this section's doing, like 5-6 guys are doing after they're supposed to be going home or whatever. They get called back to do some work. But the premise of like this, so they have like this singular mission, but this singular mission represents like basically all the time we spent in Iraq. I don't want to ruin it. You just have to go watch it. Basically, they're called to repair a water pumping station that the U.S. accidentally blew up. I guess they engaged some fucking something and ended up a missile hit the water pumping station, fucked it up, and they were called to go fix it. I don't know. It's on Netflix. It's called Sandcastle. Go check it out. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. If you want to support the show, you guys know how to do it. Not through Truth Social. Use one of the built-in tools or the just quick links. I think the bot just posted it. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. The first thing we're going to do is watch the highlights from, I've seen the full Hillary interview, which I didn't think there'd be much in the Hillary stuff, but it was wild. They tried going into Pizzagate shit. They tried just so many fucking things that were way outside this. They're asking her to make opinions. I've seen about half of the Bill Clinton, but I just got the highlights. I think I got a 20-minute video from each one. We'll start there. You got 20 minutes Hillary, 20 minutes of Bill from the deposition, the private deposition, and they released the tapes. So here we go.
Let me be as clear as I can.
I don't think we're going to get anything. Like, she's not even, like, there's nothing that, like, attaches her to anything Epstein. I don't even know why they pulled her in first.
I do not. As I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering.
Oh, they ask her about the craziest conspiracy. They're like, are you aware of a file that was on Anthony Weiner's laptop discovered by the DC police labeled life insurance, and a movie inside this file labeled Frazzle Drip? Like the dumbest, most debunked theories in the world. And Nancy Mace is like, you ever heard of Frazzle Drip?
Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane or visited his island, homes, or offices. I have nothing to add to that. Like every decent person, I've been horrified.
Here's one thing I don't think she did well, but I can kind of understand her frustration. After she lost to Trump, like, I don't know if she went on a bender or something. Like, the next time we see her is like 2 months later walking around in the woods. Like, it was weird, but I can understand her frustration with, I guess, losing to Trump.
By what we have learned about their crimes. It's unfathomable that Mr. Epstein initially got a slap on the wrist in 2008, which allowed him to continue his predatory practices for another decade. Mr. Chairman.
Liam had his first soccer game tonight, by the way. They lost 1-0 at Daniel Boone High School. I didn't make it to it. I was working and I would have been late, but I got to watch the live stream. So
your investigation is supposed to be assessing the federal government's handling of the investigations and prosecutions of Epstein and his crimes. You subpoenaed 8 law enforcement officials, all of whom ran the Department of Justice or directed the FBI when Epstein's crimes were investigated and prosecuted. Of those 8, only 1 appeared before the committee. 5 of the 6 former attorneys general were allowed to submit brief statements stating they had no information to provide. You have held 0 public hearings.
So she's basically saying, you're making this a political thing, right? What about the attorney generals that fucking didn't prosecute any of this? The ones that hit it, the sweetheart deal, Alex Acosta. All they did was write a fucking statement out and say, I don't have any information, but you're dragging me over the coals, right? You're going to ask me all these stupid fucking questions just so you can make a PR hit piece.
Refused to allow the media to attend them, including today, despite espousing the need for transparency on dozens of occasions. You have made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the Epstein files. And when you did, not a single Republican member showed up for Les Wexner's deposition. This institutional failure is designed to protect one political party and one public official, rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter. Instead, you have compelled me to testify, fully aware that I have no knowledge that would assist your investigation, in order to distract from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. If this committee is serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would not rely on press gaggles to get answers from our current president on his involvement. It would ask him directly under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. If the majority was serious, it would not waste time on fishing expeditions. There is too much to be done. What is being held back? Who is being protected, and why the cover-up? So
they should have just said across the board, we're going to call everybody in. Left, right, in the center, it doesn't matter. They're coming in to answer questions. Not, oh, just submit a one-paragraph statement saying you don't have any information, and then we'll go after all the Democrats.
My challenge to you, Mr. Chairman, and members of this committee is the same challenge I put to myself throughout my long service to this nation. How to be worthy.
They also asked her why, or in-depth questions about her ties to Howard Lutnick, although they're not having Howard Lutnick fucking come in and talk about himself. They're like, well, you knew Howard Lutnick. Yeah. His firm lost a shit ton of people in 9/11. Of course she knew Howard Lutnick. And then in one of the emails, Howard Lutnick asked Epstein to come to a Hillary Clinton fundraiser that Howard Lutnick is a hosting or whatever. Cantor Fitzgerald is hosting. And they're like, why do you think he did that? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Ask him. He might have invited millions of people that I don't fucking know. Ask him.
Of the trust of the American people that they have given to you. They expect statesmanship, not gamesmanship, leading, not grandstanding. And they expect you to use your power to get to the truth and to do more to help survivors of Epstein's crimes, as well as the millions more who are victims of sex trafficking in this country and around the world.
I saw another disgusting thing they're using their power to do is fucking try to put on this fucking dog and pony show with Ilhan Omar and her immigration paperwork, her marriage paperwork, all her shit. They're trying to drag all that shit in now. I'm pretty sure that's Nancy Mace too.
Are you aware that both Republicans and Democrats voted to subpoena you and your husband?
I am here.
Okay. Are you aware both Republicans and Democrats voted to hold you in contempt when you didn't show up?
I am here.
Is that partisan when both parties vote to do something to?
So when we say, okay, let's get the Clintons here and everybody votes for it, but we never say, you think we should get this person, this Republican here? Clearly there's a difference. You didn't even put it to vote to ask any of these other people, right? How many times have you put it to vote to say, should Trump come testify?
Together, is that partisan or nonpartisan?
I think it's standing up for the institution, but there are many other aspects of the committee's work that strikes me as avoiding the main issues about who should be sitting here, who has actual information that might be useful to your investigation.
As if it was not in your purview when you were Secretary of State, then why is it today in Secretary Rubio's purview?
Because what's happened is that the office that was actually following what was going on around the world has been decimated. 70% of the staff is gone. It's impossible to carry out the functions of that office if you don't have a critical number of people. So my question would be to Secretary Rubio, is there more that can be done?
I'm running out of time here. You were clothed with immense power as Secretary of State. You've stated on the record in your opening statement that child sex trafficking in general, human trafficking, trafficking of all kinds is a priority. You were clothed with immense power. Your husband was clothed with immense power. And until you got this subpoena and until these files were out in the open, you did nothing to try to effectuate all of these things. You say that should have been done. Is that correct?
No, it's totally incorrect. I mean, all of your assumptions are ones that I reject.
When you saw photos of your husband in a hot tub laying on a beach and getting massaged by other women, and you knew that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in some of these trips and these things, did it concern you at all?
I'm here not to offer my opinions. I'm here to answer specific questions to the best of my ability.
When you saw your husband in these photos with a young woman being massaged, what went through your mind?
I am not going to speculate.
You didn't have any feelings about young women massaging your husband?
I am not going.
No one's even claimed that the massage picture was even underage, right? It's just a masseuse. They're saying young women. Even when they ask Bill Clinton about it, he's like, I'm not interested in anybody underage. And they're like, we don't mean underage. We just mean younger than you. He like looks at him like, I'm a fucking 1,000. Everybody's younger than me.
To offer opinions or speculation about anything that I have no context for and was not there.
After you learned that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of sex crimes with kids, did any of these photos of your husband with women being massaged on the beach, did it concern you?
I have no context for even answering that question. And I think, obviously the innuendo, all the rest of it.
I'm asking a black and white question. I'm not putting any leading statements into it or adjectives. Did you do anything to determine what was happening in those images or on those trips? That once you saw these photos, once you realized Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender of children, did you do anything to determine what was happening on these trips with your husband?
I don't find any of your questions to be relevant to the investigation.
What is relevant if a former president was traveling around with young women?
Well, you'll have a chance. You'll have a chance to talk to him tomorrow.
You'll notice they keep saying young women. They'll keep saying young, because they don't have any evidence that anybody featured with him, pictured with him, traveled with him, were underage.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
another photos that are being released.
At one point, they asked Bill Clinton, "Are interns young?" And he's like, "I guess by nature they're interns."
Of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room, can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent?
There's the picture.
With rules, particularly given that we.
Wait, let me back it up.
Tomorrow.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have another
photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to
There she is, Lauren. I did post one, and I just want to go ahead and say I took a picture. I did post one. What the fuck are you talking about? I did post one. For fuck's sake.
understand.
You guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have
I'm done for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Go off the record. Quick, go off the record.
transparent.
So fucking stupid. And they've asked, the Clintons asked, and their lawyers asked, let's just televise the thing. We'll televise the whole fucking thing. Nope. We're going to have all this sealed till we figure out what you say. And then if we want to put it out, we'll put it out. If we don't want to put it out, we won't put it out. And that's our prerogative. And then this bitch is over there taking fucking pictures. I did post one. It was before the thing started. Come on, guys.
Hearing cameras on. Secretary Clinton, why is it important for you to testify before this committee in a public setting?
Well, first of all, I believe in public testimony. I believe that the public has a right to know what its elected members of Congress are investigating and legislating. Having served for 8 years, I think it is useful.
All right, real quick. This bothers me so much that I've been ripping all the labels off my bottles of water, okay? I want to show you something, and you tell me if I'm overreacting, okay? So give me just a second. I want to preface this by saying I drink multiple bottles of water every fucking day, okay? Every day, multiple bottles of water. This is a brand new one. See this bottle of water? All right. Hold on. Let's switch here. Turn that to media controls. We'll go here to full screen.
Hey, Daddies, it's me.
Get rid of Linda Binda. Just finish, Linda. No one cares. All right. This is a bottle of water, okay? It's like a store brand bottle of water. The label, every bottle of water I buy, this is Food Line brand, okay? The labels on every bottle of water in the world are white and blue. I thought I had bought a weird product. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is this like secondhand water? Is this like contaminated water? It is so unnerving to see bright red on the label on a bottle of water. Like, who the fuck thinks of this? This has bothered me for weeks, okay? I bought 4 cases. Who the fuck would put red? Like, red's like alarm. Something's fucking wrong. Contamination. Alerts. Who the fuck would think to put red on a label? It bothers me so much. I don't even like to look at the cases of water over there, because I know that some of those bottles have red labels on them. And it's only been in the latest run. I buy this brand of water all the fucking time. Like, what the fuck? Never have red. Find me a bottled water that has a red label. It's unnatural. Like, it's just the PLU code or whatever. UPC code, PLU number 159. But they just switched, like, it bothers me so much. And I don't know. It's autism or something. I don't know. There should not be red. I've never seen the color red on a bottle of water. You guys don't find that weird at all? Like, everybody's just making fun of me? It's incredibly weird. I don't care what the fuck you all think. To have red, even though I mix up the water and it becomes red. I don't want a red fucking label. The fuck's that about?
As a member, to do a hearing in public, because you're going to learn things by the coverage of it, by the response that you get from people. You know, this hearing, if it were in public, maybe your question about intelligence, maybe somebody watching it would have said, oh my gosh, I just remembered having a conversation with Foreign Minister X or Prime Minister Y.
Yes, it's weird. I asked the guy when I was checking out, I was like, oh, there's something red in there. And he's like, oh, it's the label. And I was like, oh. Oh. I didn't know what to say. I thought something had fallen down, like in the vacuum sealed, like, you know how they vacuum sealed plastic around. I was like, there's something red in there. He's like, it's the label.
And that person mentioned Jeffrey Epstein. Most people are not going to look at the video. They're not going to read the transcript, but they will follow a live public hearing. So I think it actually enhances the work that those of us who've been privileged to serve are doing and can do. So to me, it is just an absolute.
Fiji water. I drink Fiji water. It has a pink flower on it. It's not the same as like a big red box or red text or.
requisite for doing the kind of legislative and investigative work as effectively as possible by doing it in public.
And did you know that you would be photographed today?
No.
And is that at all part of what you had understood about the terms of the agreement for today's deposition?
Well, I will confess that I had some concerns about whether the majority on the committee would treat me fairly and would, fairly convey what I say and what I did and how I looked and how I responded. So yes, I did have a concern, and when we learned about the photos being taken not by a staff member but by a member, it was shocking.
I agree. It would be much different if like an aide or somebody took the water, but you're a fucking member. What the fuck are you doing? Even if you want the picture, have a fucking aide do it. They're dumb, they're young, they're learning. Maybe they can claim they didn't know the rules.
And very disappointing. So if it were in public, we wouldn't have that debate. Everybody could see the same thing that the congresswoman saw. I'm sitting here, sometimes I'm smiling, sometimes I'm frowning, sometimes I look good, sometimes I don't. That's all in public. Everybody can have the same view rather than, an angled photo and all the rest of it.
Or try to get you at a moment where you don't look happy, you look upset, she's sweating bullets, whatever fucking caption they're going to put on the picture.
So it was disappointing, and I regret that it happened and it violated your rules, but that's not the real concern I have. The real concern is get busy. Focus on the people that have something to tell you, that can tell you about intelligence, money, and crimes, and get them before you, and whenever possible, do it in public. Having observed...
I can almost guarantee you that there are... Look, here's somebody on Reddit complaining about it. What the fuck's with the red ring around the Kirkland water bottle? I don't like it. Yeah, I agree. There is some type of marketing rule around bottles of water where they know not to use red. I feel like I remember drinking a bottle of water one time that had like a red star on it. Maybe that was just like communist water or something.
President Trump up close and personal for a number of years now since I ran against him. He has a tell. He has a behavioral tell. Whenever he is worried about being found out himself, he accuses somebody else of doing what he actually has done. And it's just a pattern with him. So it's no surprise to me that all of a sudden...
Blue makes you think like it's real water, or it's refreshing, or it's natural, or it came from a spring or something. Blue is better for water bottles, 100%. Sorry, I got to cut this label off this bottle. It's bothering me now. There we go. Refreshing. Again. And not fucking red. I don't want to drink lava.
What he promised in his campaign to reveal, everything about the files, and then...
I've had plenty of canned water.
And his people began looking in the files and realized how potentially incriminating they were of him. All of a sudden, that was no longer the focus. It was blaming Democrats.
Right. Release the files, release the files, release the files. The Epstein files are a Democratic hoax. And then for some reason, I don't know if he knows, like clearly they're hiding some files, that the 302 forms and shit that accuse him. And that's really damning right now. But I don't know if he knows that, like, the reason he must be taken up for Bill Clinton is because he has similar but worse shit in the Epstein files that still haven't been released. Why the fuck would he be like, I don't like people going after Bill Clinton, I don't think they should do that.
Democrats talking about a hoax, saying move on, there's nothing to see here. That is a typical pattern of President Trump's behavior, which speaks louder than all the words that he speaks. And
you somehow Googled... Okay.
And all of the Truth Social posts that he makes. He clearly knows what he did. He knows what others did, because remember, one of the emails that has come out recently is he called the police chief of Palm Beach at the time Epstein was arrested, according to reporting, to say, I'm so glad you got him. I'm so glad you're stopping him. Well, how would he know that?
And finally,
Exactly.
do you think that Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee?
Yeah, but you Googled this shit like this is not a red ink code on the cap or shoulder. You have a gift, and that gift is for answering questions that no one ever asked ever. That's your gift. I think that's your gift. If I said, why is the sky blue? You would Google solar flares. It is wild. I've never seen anything like it. Why is the sky blue? The grass is green, mostly because we perceive the green fucking wavelengths bouncing off of it. It's wild. I love it.
Absolutely. You know, I was a lawyer, and as a lawyer, you would look for pattern and practice. If you were deposing a witness in a case that you were trying, if you were in court, what did you know about this person? What you knew could influence how you questioned that person, how you tried the case. Donald Trump has been held.
All right, let's get back in it. Let's lock in.
For sexual assault.
Yep.
By a jury of his peers. 9 members of a jury found him.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of conspiracy theories about you.
Liable in the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll. That is behavior. That fits a pattern if one were looking for a pattern. He has also been convicted on 34 felony counts for attempting to hide his relationship with an escort and then to commit business fraud to prevent it from becoming public.
This is a good argument for her. It doesn't really work for Bill, but just because of shit with the Monica Lewinsky shit, right?
In the 2016 campaign, which was ultimately election interference. So if I were running the committee or I were involved in this investigation, I would be looking for people who maybe had some prior conduct that might be relevant to either money or crimes. And yes, I think that it would be in keeping with the scope of the investigation of this committee to
I don't understand. Like, it's like rich people want to get so rich that they can fuck kids, and I just want to be able to pay my light bill without a late fee.
set up a deposition with President Trump. I know he's been deposed many, many, many times.
And poor Bort. Bort looks like he sucks dick for fucking bus fare and then walks home. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's got going on, dude.
He's taken the Fifth Amendment many, many hundreds of times, so I'm not saying you're going to get a lot of information. But given what's in the files and given past and prior conduct, he would be on my witness list.
By this standard of behavior, multiple credible accusers, including Juanita Broderick, who alleged rape against your husband was disbarred in Arkansas, lost his law license before the Supreme Court, flew on Epstein's plane dozens of times, visited Epstein's island.
That is not true. That is absolutely untrue.
Well, there's documentation in the DOJ files. I'm not sure you're aware, your attorneys have told you, but Jeffrey Epstein told one of the victims to lie to investigators, to lie that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein Island. I can provide that document to you.
We would like that document, please.
Okay.
Yeah, counsel, because actually the files say just the opposite. Epstein himself denied he was.
These are FBI notes from an interview with a victim, and
So a one-person claim, which all the claims against Trump, they're like, it's just claims. That's just people claiming stuff. Anybody can claim anything at any time. But they're like, one person said that they were told to say Bill wasn't there.
To the victim number and the case number and the files. These are notes from a 302 interview.
We'd like those. Are you going to provide those now?
I don't. That's not my line of questioning. She brought it up, but I have a
I'm
document.
sorry.
I can give to
You're
you.
making a representation as to the fact.
I didn't enter anything as an exhibit.
But it's factually inaccurate.
No, I can give it to you later. I can go find the document, make copies of it, and give it to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. by your standard of pattern of behavior, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, your husband appears in photos in swimming pools, hot tubs, aboard Jeffrey Epstein's private plane with unidentified young women. We came here today and you told this committee that a pattern of behavior demands accountability, correct?
I said that I believe the committee should call anyone who had a substantial pattern and practice of contact with Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes before they came to light.
Does that include your husband?
And after they came to light. You're going to have a chance to question him tomorrow.
So I'll ask you again, by the standard you just set in your own words just now.
You're questioning him. Like, I don't.
Does this standard apply equally to your husband or only President Trump?
I have said that my husband has been subpoenaed. He will appear. He will answer your questions to the best of his ability, but there is no evidence whatsoever of any.
I think they're aggravated that the best they got on Bill Clinton is literally him in a pool.
Connection with
or hot tub or whatever it is.
And I think that will be obviously apparent in the questioning.
What makes you so sure of that then? I mean, he's photographed.
Objection. To speculate on something that's not.
Yeah, it is so speculative. I mean, swimming in a pool, sitting in a hot tub, there are millions of people who do that without any improper behavior or certainly committing any crimes. So I think
most of the men are like your husband that did anything wrong by where they're being surrounded by young women, giving them massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane. Are they all innocent then?
You know, you are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable. Thank you for a fun.
It looks like there's one in a pool, one in a hot tub. The pool, like he's never touching anybody or like super close to anybody. One in the pool with Ghislaine Maxwell and somebody blocked out. One in a hot tub with Ghislaine Maxwell. One with somebody kind of sitting on the arm of a chair that he's sitting in with a face blacked out. And then a couple of him like shaking hands. Looks like he was on some type of like official business. He's shaking hands with a bunch of people walking down a hallway.
Night, your littlest girl was a little naughty.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me sick.
Donald Trump is a retard. I don't know why he would even say that. I don't. First of all, I don't think it's true. Second of all, I don't know why he would even say that. They're all about like, we're not giving any information to the enemies. That's why we're not telling the press or the American people. And Trump's like, we're out of high-end munitions. We got mid-grade munitions.
And I don't believe are provable. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty.
How does that anything wrong by where they're being surrounded by young women, giving them massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane? Are they all innocent then?
You know, you are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me sick.
If you can also read the EFTA 008788421. This is also another email. Can you just please provide the context? It's an email.
Some of them, they're going around. They all have turns. So some of them are, yeah, it was Nancy Mace asking the question. She's the one that asked about Pizzagate and shit.
To Jeffrey Epstein, if you could just
Razzle drip.
The context of what it is.
They're all taking turns, the same way they would if they were like in committee. The only reason this room is like different and shit is because I think they went to New York to do this. Isn't that what they did? Hold on. They went to her home? Okay. I just heard that they were going to be in New York for a couple of days. So everybody goes around and has a limit. There's like an opening statement from the majority. Then there's like a fucking statement from a minority leader of the committee. And then they'll go around and take turns. Everybody gets the same amount of time, a couple minutes or whatever. Ask as many questions as they can.
Of course, the OH Jesus, Ohio Jesus, I'm coming trick
And just the main body of the context of the email.
Said that she felt God's presence next to her when she was in bed. She knows that Jesus watches over her and he helped save her life. Whoops.
How does that make you feel?
It's bizarre. I don't know what it means.
The reason I asked you to read both of these is because these emails were both sent by co-conspirators that were then given the plea deals and now have been given victim status. Both of these women were also named an FBI document, and they're on a number of other emails. Do you believe that the Department of Justice should reevaluate the plea deals for some of these women, given that, as you can see, they have clearly done some things probably that they shouldn't have?
I don't know the status of whether that would be legally possible, so I have no opinion.
I think outside of the statute of limitations, they might be able to reinvestigate under the civil rights violations. Would you be in favor of that, or looking into any of the co-conspirators that were given plea deals down to victim status if there's credible evidence that they were trafficking young girls?
I think it should be pursued.
All right, Secretary Clinton, how do you feel about your husband being named in the Epstein files?
Well, I think it's something that is unfortunate, and I'm sure that he will tell you that he wished he had not flown on Epstein's plane. So that's, it's unfortunate in my opinion.
Is how do we determine whether or not Epstein was a spy, whether or not Epstein was trading secrets, because he had people on the inside, especially in the Obama administration. We're not saying you, but Obama's former counsel that then went to Goldman Sachs.
After they left the Obama administration, yeah.
Where do we go in this investigation to try to determine whether or not he was an asset?
Mr. Chairman, I really appreciate that question, and I can't say that about many of the questions, but I really do appreciate that question. And I think it's an absolutely essential question for you to try to examine and find answers for. And I think you said that you had either document requests or maybe even a subpoena to the CIA. I would also include the DNI. I would include, any counterintelligence or appropriate unit within the Justice Department. I think you have to cast a wide net. And now that, as you describe, the government in the UK is investigating both Andrew Mountbatten and Peter Mendelsohn, maybe they would cooperate with you in their investigation. And maybe, you could reach out to the intelligence agencies of other countries that you're looking at. Israel has been mentioned. Perhaps that is one to be. I don't think Iran is going to cooperate, but I think, or Russia, but I think you could, certainly go to the UK and go to Israel and see if they would be at all helpful to you.
In your experience as Secretary of State, and I know you were First Lady, but you were more active, in my opinion, than most First Ladies in the President Clinton's administration. Does he exhibit characteristics? Is there a pattern that would lead you and your expertise to believe that he was an asset?
Well, there certainly is in the files, and I do commend you.
He was definitely getting information from we know from the UK and shit.
For getting as much released.
Mostly to make money, but still.
As you can. I hope you can get it all released. Hints of relationships with powerful foreign leaders, pictures, emails, meetings. He was clearly somebody who traded off of information.
Exactly.
He liked to collect.
And power. I think it's easy for people that also want power, that are seeking the same thing. Once you get, let's say you don't know anybody with any power, and then somehow you become friends with Obama. More than likely, you're going to become friends with a lot of other fucking people in power from both sides of the aisle, right? It seems like he got a leg up to get introduced to at least a few people. That led to other people. Let me introduce you to this person. Let me introduce this person. Then they found out that, oh, he does investments. Now suddenly people are giving him fucking insider information about laws that are going to be passed and packages that are going to be sent before it's disclosed to the public so he can invest in it and shit.
And then he liked to use it. I don't know any more details than that. So he is certainly, I said earlier, you know, the intelligence connections, the money connections, the crimes, those seem to me to be the, you know, the three major elements of your investigation.
All right, so that's the highlights from Hillary. We're going straight into the highlights from the Bill thing.
I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me.
But I don't even know if he traded that information. Let's say Howard Lutnick comes to you. Howard Lutnick comes to your island and fucks a kid, okay? I don't think he went and was like, I got this information on. It was more like now you're under my thumb forever. So you're going to give me information. We're going to be friends for a long time. You're never going to disparage me or break away from me because you know the potential I have to blackmail you now. I don't know that he was gathering it and been like, oh, a fucking Israeli government. This guy fucks kids, and I got videos of it.
Take those plane trips with him, and you have a right to ask those questions. So I'm glad to be here, and I understand what the oath is. I have to be honest with you. You know, I'll be 80 years old if I live to my next birthday. I don't remember everything that happened 24 years ago, but I do remember some things, and I will tell you what I remember as best I can.
She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure. Yeah. I wish Shantae had told me. I liked her. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering a massage. Okay. You know, all these boats that you go on and all that, they all do that.
Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffrey, who has testified seeing you on the island with two young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection, speculation. He can't possibly.
Have you ever met her or any other Epstein associated underage girl?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. In Epstein's 2016 deposition unsealed in the DOJ files, he refused to answer if you were accompanied by two young women who were approximately 18 years old on the island. Were any such women potentially underage with you? I know you've stated that you were not there, but did you have any interaction with the said
Objection
individuals?
to the foundation of the question. He's already stated he was not on the island. You're now asking about a claim of the Fifth Amendment by Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay. Is it possible, and in your opinion, that you and or your wife were targeted as a means of an intelligence gathering operation?
Object to the form of the question. Object to the form of the question.
How the fuck would he know?
No objection to if he knows.
And yes, obviously, it's always possible by anybody that they were targeted for some type of fucking espionage, right? Not just Epstein. Anybody they come into contact with for the rest of their fucking lives might be an intelligence asset.
That they were targeted.
I believe that's what she asked.
No, she said it's impossible, so she's asking him to speculate instead of asking him, does he know?
Do you know if you were targeted at any point?
I don't, but
okay.
I don't. I'd sort of be surprised, but I'm not. I don't know.
Mr. President, before we left off, I asked you to characterize your relationship with Mr. Epstein. I asked you if you considered him to be a friend. You said you did not. Is that right?
I said we were friendly and we had a cordial relations, but I didn't know him well enough because we had almost no contact beyond what I described.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 13. And this is Bates marked House Oversight 000126. And while it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
it's his 50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
Questions?
Mr. President, do you recognize this letter? And for the record, does this appear to be your handwriting and signature?
It is.
And why did you write this letter?
Why did I? Because I was requested to contribute a nice letter for his birthday book.
And who asked you to write the letter?
I don't remember.
Would Miss Maxwell have asked you?
I don't know. I think someone on my staff asked me.
Now, there's a word that
I think we need to ask Donald Trump about his little secret they share or whatever in his birthday letter.
The committee has not been able to identify, and in our defense, the Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends.
Sounds like a Hallmark card.
Not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't?
No, errors.
Oh, errors. We made errors.
What do I mean? Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his.
You didn't put, you've had a few errors when you fuck some children. I'm going to put that in your 50th birthday letter for the book we're putting together for you.
Appropriate activities involving you.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
We have, as you know, in the files that were released, there were several photos included you, and we have an exhibit here. That's just one of the photos, and it's Exhibit K, Minority Exhibit K.
Yep.
And we'll have that passed around. And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this taken, I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken
in a Walgreens.
And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we. Who is that including?
Well, my whole team that was working on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You do these things in rotation. And it came either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
it'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure he knew that.
So the hot tub is connected to the pool. Basically, you can see when you look at the picture. I should show you. Fuck. Hold on. This is the hot tub's over here, and then the pool, kind of like a hotel pool, like you said.
Were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here. There's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know.
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish. And I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this.
So it seems like it was late at night, and his party might have been the only one there, especially with a Secret Service agent there. But it was open to the other suites. Anybody on that floor, I guess, had access to that pool. Maybe.
Did you engage in any sexual activity with this person? Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, there's been new information that has come out regarding the autopsy of Mr. Epstein. I would just like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the president thinks of.
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein?
You can't just ignore the lawyer, dude. Just say, yeah, I'm asking his opinion.
Are you classifying him as a friend who he has testified that he was friendly?
He has called him a friend in a letter.
He said he was friendly, but not. You've asked for his testimony.
Mr. President, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
Do you know?
Was he ever suicidal?
Best of your understanding.
I don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe he finally got caught, and I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened.
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
That he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Neither do
Mr.
you.
President.
We don't. None of us know. We weren't there.
Mr. President, it's been an honor. Thank you.
It's again, it's from GMAX, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, I read it.
We believe, well, it's redacted. We, having seen the unredacted files, we believe that the two is to the same email. It says, sorry to hear about the Bellsberg stuff is bad news, even worse, that it may be damaging. You know that one of my pet fears is that in London I am press toxic, so I hope that I never add to your woes in that department. If I hear anything, I will of course let you know. I could not help myself. There was one juicy little tidbit I did let out, the one about what a super stud that you are and how I have a crush on you and how you are hung like a horse. And, well, you get the picture. Hope you don't mind. Are you familiar with this email?
Are you saying at the time it was sent or in the preparation for this?
At the time that it was sent, were you familiar with it?
Oh, no.
Are you familiar with it before?
Yes, it's now famous.
Okay, what can you tell me about your knowledge of this email?
So if his knowledge is only from when he was prepared for this hearing, that would have been with his counsel, or is that what are you asking for outside of any preparation for this hearing?
Mr. President, do you believe that Mr. Band sent this or received this email?
I do.
Okay. So, and there's more. Let me go to the next one. Exhibit, which would be number 20.
Hung like a horse.
And the answer is, I don't know about this.
There's no question.
Okay. At the time.
I would just ask you to clarify whether or not you're asking if he knows about these emails at the time they were sent, or if you're asking whether or not he came to learn about them in the course of preparation, just so that distinction in time is clear.
Okay. I believe this.
Are you in the 4th Congressional District, Dr. J?
It's also very short. It's just at the top. Again, it's from the WJC email, same one, and and it says, "This email is silly. I want to spank bottoms tonight."
Who's it from?
It's from the same email account, the same email that has been used before, the WJC email. What was your knowledge of Mr. Band's relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell?
I knew he was, basically, he contacted her the same way that she represented Epstein on things. I did not know, nor...
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
A physical relationship?
We know who Dr. J voted for.
They had a physical relationship.
You believe they had a physical relationship?
I don't know for sure.
And just to be clear, you said it, but you did not have a physical relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell.
The president's answered that question multiple times.
Yeah.
Your statement in 2019 about only meeting with Jeffrey Epstein on 2 occasions briefly.
That is not correct. I'm going to object to that characterization. That is not what the statement says.
Okay, so the third
You're reading the Daily
paragraph
Beast
down.
article.
So to be
Which
clear,
is a leftist rag, by the way. And on the third paragraph down, it says, in his Monday statement, Clinton said he had only, quote, one meeting with Epstein in his Harlem office in 2002, and around the same time made one brief visit to Epstein's New York apartment with a staff member and his security detail. Those are the two
That is in addition to this.
to the Daily Beast, Bill Clinton failed to mention his intimate dinner, 1995 dinner with Epstein. That's by Pilar Melendez on the 11th of July, 2019.
All right, Mr. President, your statement saying you only met with Epstein briefly twice, was that part of an effort to cover up your close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, correct?
Object to the form of the question. It misstates the record.
She's asking if you were trying to mislead the public.
Oh, no.
Okay. How many times did Ghislaine Maxwell visit your home in Chappaqua?
I have no idea.
Who invited her?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how. She may have been.
Mr. President, that's it.
Okay.
Hillary had political events there.
Okay. So is it to your knowledge, was she at your home in Chappaqua likely because your wife had her over for Senate events? That's what you testified earlier today, correct?
That's not what he testified, but please ask the question as to what he would actually. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do not know, but if you are implying the reverse, I will volunteer something. She was never in my house in Chappaqua for any personal reasons.
I didn't say anything for anything personal.
No, you didn't, but you had a great tone in your voice, and you're very good at it.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Thank you. And I did not go to Yale Law School or any law school for that matter.
Mr. President, did you ever make any kind of attempt to influence the media's coverage of Jeffrey Epstein?
They were trying to insinuate that they were meeting to fuck or something there, I guess, and he's like, nope, that didn't happen.
No.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what we've marked as Majority Exhibit 23. And this is Bates number EFTA 02792895.
One page.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I don't know who that is.
And this is email from Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim, that alleged that you walked into Vanity Fair and threatened them not to write sex trafficking articles about your good friend, Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. President, is this true?
No. No. Not no, hell no. Not close, no.
Why do you think Ms. Giuffre would make these claims?
Are you asking him to have an opinion about Ms. Giuffre's point of mind? Can we not do that? Like, ask him about the facts that he knows, as opposed to asking about the facts in other people's minds.
Why do you think they would say that?
Ever asked any other publication to shut down a story related to Mr. Epstein?
No.
You can't testify to why someone else would say something, especially if you deny it, right? I've never done that, never been part of that, didn't happen, blah, 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 whatever. Well, why do you think they would say that? How the fuck would I know? Hold on just a second. Liam's got a couple of, I had to watch his game tonight from live stream. It was like an hour away, but he's got a couple home games coming up. All right. This is I think this is the Pizzagate one I was talking about earlier.
In past public statements, as in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from a Washington pizzeria basement. Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry,
You're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files which relate to the wacky Pizzagate scandal.
You could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So excuse me, your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be...
There are connections to the language.
Well, the QAnon people believe there are, so
I don't know what QAnon people believe.
Have at it.
But you've accused certain parties, and I think even right now today, of promoting slow walking or information in ways that fuels conspiracies. In your view, did any Epstein-Maxwell related investigations or file handling pre or post 2019 contribute to or intersect with the spread of Pizzagate-style theories about Democrat figures?
Objection.
I have no way of answering. That is the most ridiculously...
Have you or your representatives identified any Epstein file content that has been misinterpreted online to revive
Is it true that Bort got kicked off the pedophile march?
Those claims? And what steps, if any, have you taken to clarify?
Again, objection on the ground of...
Have you taken steps to clarify that Pizzagate's not real and you're not involved in Pizzagate?
I think that this is all very reasonable.
Well, first of all, I don't follow the crazy conspiracy stories that are online. I regret that anybody does. I find it quite sad, but also disturbing that people would believe some of what is put forth, like Pizzagate. So I have taken no steps to review anything that might have any connection to something which I think is totally bogus.
John Podesta, your 2016 campaign chair.
I can't believe Dr. J voted for Lauren Boebert. We should shame her.
There appears in file context, social overlaps or mentions. Were you aware of any of the Podesta-related communications in the released files?
Can you please provide examples or the evidence that you would like us to review, or the exhibits that reflect that? In order
I can get some exhibits and pause this question in the meantime.
When you provide those?
I will get those, and I will skip that question until we can.
Generally, if she's aware.
Generally, she is asking if she's aware of specific information that is in the files that you all are relying on. Please provide the witness with copies of that material.
Doesn't know or has no recollection, she's welcome to state so.
We're also welcome to actually see the information that you're speaking to.
And again, the representative is asking general.
I expected a lot of interesting questions today, but Pizzagate was not on my list.
Oh, it gets worse. Just wait. But if we say it enough times, it becomes true, Dr. J.
It's okay. We're asking all sorts of things here.
You certainly are. You certainly are.
We're just trying to get the truth out to the American people.
Well, that
and
would
get
be
some clarity.
very helpful.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled frazzle?
The chairman's ruling. Is this within the scope? Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope,
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record.
Off the record. Off the record. Shut it down. Off the record. Off the record. Frazzle drip. It's actually frazzled.rip. But people didn't pick up on that, so it's just frazzle drip now. And it's all been debunked. It's all fake. Hell, fucking a guy from Australia that used to watch the show is the one who he found the original footage that they're using, claiming it's fucking Uma Abedin and Hillary Clinton cutting a girl's face off or some shit. It's from some movie. I don't know. It's all fucking stupid. Frazzle drips. What's some other things I ran into today? Let's see.
I'm going to get hate for this, and that's all right, but I do not think that the Iran war is a distraction for the Epi files. I wrote my master's thesis on Project 2025 and Christian nationalism and U.S. military chaplaincy. Everything that is going on with Iran has been in the works for years, if not decades, particularly.
So if you don't know, there's a report that hundreds of complaints have come in from the U.S. military members claiming that commanders told them this was a holy war, and indicated that this was to bait Iran into causing some type of nuclear Armageddon and bringing forth the second coming of Christ.
By the Christian right. There's a reason why Lindsey Graham and Mike Huckabee are the face leaders for this. It is not a distraction when the head of the DOD 6 years ago wrote a book with his manifesto talking about literally exactly what's going on. There's a reason why the head of the DOD brought in
this guy's a fucking nut job, dude.
Very specific pastor to come and bless the troops and to show what kind of Christianity they were headed in. There are Christians that are in power that want a holy war, and there are very wealthy AI tech people that will gladly support that. And obviously oil, but like, what else is new? The Epi files are horrible. I've read them, I've made myself sick over them. They are not going...
I haven't confirmed this. It's not like we've got video or a recording or an email of a commander saying, welcome to the holy war, the Armageddon, second coming of Christ, but there have been allegedly complaints coming in.
To war because of that. They think it's annoying that we think all of that is horrible, that we're against the Iran. They don't care. I'm going to get hate for this, and that's all right.
Pretty fucking insane.
I just got off the phone with President Trump. It was a roughly 9-minute phone interview talking about the war in Iran. Just want to give you the quotes. He said, quote, "We're knocking the crap out of them. I think it's going very well. It's very powerful. We've got the greatest military in the world, and we're using it." I asked the president how long he thought this war might last. He said, I don't want to see it go on too long. I always thought it would be 4 weeks, and we're a little ahead of schedule. I asked him if the U.S. was doing more to help the Iranian people reclaim their country than the military strikes, if there was other stuff going on. He said, yes, we are indeed, but right now we want everyone staying inside. It's not safe out there. He also suggested it was about to get even less safe. We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon. I asked the president about the fact that Iran attacked Arab countries in the region, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. He said that that was the biggest surprise so far for him and his team. Quote, we were surprised. We told them, meaning the Arab countries, we've got this. And now they want to fight, and they're aggressively fighting. They were going to be very little involved, and now they insist on being involved. He said of the Arab leaders of those countries, I know these people, they're tough and smart. The Iranians, he said, quote, shot into a hotel, they shot into an apartment house. It just made them, meaning the Arab leaders, angry. They love us, but they were watching. There was no reason for them to be involved. That was probably the biggest surprise. You have to understand they were living under that dark cloud for years, meaning the Iranian nuclear threat. That's why you could never have peace. I asked, okay, well, who's going to lead Iran now? The president said, we don't know who the leadership is. We don't know who they'll pick. Maybe they'll get lucky and get someone who knows what they're doing. The Iranians, he said, lost a lot in terms of leadership because on the initial strikes, not only was Ayatollah Khamenei killed, but also 49 other Iranian leaders, he said. It was an amazing strike. They got a little bit arrogant by meeting all in one place. They thought they were undetectable. They weren't undetectable. We were shocked by it. They don't even know who's leading them now. We went down 49, he said, meaning 49 leaders on the leadership chart there. We don't know who's leading the country now. They don't know who's leading. It's a little like the unemployment line. The president said that they tried to make a deal with the Iranians, but we couldn't make a deal with these people. He said every offer was met with a walkback of a previous offer. They had all that enriched stuff, he said, referring to uranium. They looked at redoing it there. This is after the strikes last June. But it was in such bad shape, the mountain had basically collapsed. The president said, this is the way to deal with Iran. We don't have to worry about agreements. He talked about all of the years, decades of killing and IEDs and all the destruction that Iran has wreaked on the United States and other countries. He said people in the military walking around with no legs, walking around with no arms, their faces shattered. He said that today's military operation was of a piece, part of a larger campaign. We took out Soleimani last time. That's referring to the Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani. He was an unbelievably violent, vicious general. Hitting him, he said, was a big move. If that didn't happen, then you might not have Israel today. Israel might not exist. Then he referred to Midnight Hammer, the strike against the Iranian nuclear facilities last June. They were a month away from having a nuclear weapon. He criticized Obama's nuclear deal with Iran. He said it gave all the power to Iran. They would have had a nuclear weapon 3 or 4 years ago. They would have used it against Israel. They maybe would have used it against us. In the latest talks, he said the Iranians, quote, weren't willing to give us what we asked for. They should have done it. So it's going good, the president said before getting off the phone. I just got off the phone with President.
There you go. We're knocking the crap out of them.
We will not employ AI models that won't allow you to fight wars. Department of War AI will not be woke. It will work for us.
I heard the greatest analogy to this, okay? So the Republicans around the DOD are pushing back, saying it's stupid that, let me give you the analogy first, okay? The analogy was, imagine you're a security guard for a company, okay? And this company comes up to you and is like, hey, you're the new security guard. We need you to sign this agreement that says you'll do anything to protect what we ask you to protect. And you're like, absolutely, I'll do anything except for murder. And they're like, what? Murder? Why would you even say that? Take that back. Murder's already illegal. You'd probably freak out and be like, do they want me to commit murder? Like my hard line was like, I'm not going to do murder. And they're like, no, don't say that. Take that back. Take that back right now. We don't want you to do murder, but don't say you won't do murder. That's the analogy, because the Republicans within the DOD are coming out and saying, oh, yeah, this is bullshit. They're saying they won't do mass surveillance or make autonomous killing machines. That's already illegal. Why would they need to say that? They're just trying to tie our hands. That makes it seem like you want to do mass surveillance and autonomous killing machines with AI.
We're building war-ready weapons and systems, not chatbots, for an Ivy League faculty lounge.
Such a fucking goober, man. Today we're going to talk about AI and a fight between the Pentagon and Anthropic, which is the AI company that makes the model Claude. So my understanding is that this controversy started after Axios and the Wall Street Journal reported that Claude was used during the raid to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. My guess is that Claude was helping them sort through some sort of bulk collection of data of some sort, but who knows? I'm literally guessing. Regardless, though, like those news reports kicked up this broader conversation between Anthropic and the Pentagon about the use of Claude and when, it violated their terms of service. For context, despite having a Pentagon contract, Anthropic is the AI company that seems to be the most concerned with safety and how technology is used and are the most openly in favor of government regulation, although you never know with these guys, they could change their mind. The Pentagon has contracts with the 4 major AI companies, OpenAI, xAI, Google, and Anthropic. Apparently, Hegseth's team went to all of them and said basically, we want to rewrite your terms of service and replace them with language that says the U.S. military can do anything lawful with your models. OpenAI, xAI, Google, they were like, fine. Anthropic said, no, we want to make sure our tech is not used for mass surveillance of Americans or in autonomous killing machines, like killer robots. And the Pentagon basically replied, how fucking dare you? On Tuesday, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei met with Pistol Pete, Secretary Hegseth. According to a readout they leaked to CNN, Hegseth gave Anthropic until Friday to get rid of its safeguards or else he will punish them.
Look, this is really important. And there's a world in which we look back on this era and Trump is like the B story to tech and AI. And I think what people have to realize is that more and more the war fighting, to use a Hegseth buzzword, of the future is going to be done with artificial intelligence. These AI companies and these kind of defense tech startups are the Lockheed Martins and Boeings of the future, because it's not going to be tanks. It's going to be AI drones and massive, surveillance capabilities and offensive cyber and all these things, right? And these companies have terms of service. And that, in part, is because they know at Anthropic, better than the Pentagon, where it's going. They know what the misuse of that technology could lead to. Mass surveillance with AI of Americans is a truly terrifying thing. I'm very glad that these companies, I wish more companies would want to put that in their terms of service, right? Think about this technology in the worst hands, and I actually think Pete Hegseth is high on the list of the potential worst hands. Yeah. You want some terms of service.
Yes.
Will not employ AI.
If you're saying like we will do anything that's lawful, and they say, okay, well, we know it's illegal to mass surveil U.S. citizens, even with let's just throw that in there. And they're like, no. It almost makes you think that they're going to push boundaries of what is lawful, or maybe change what is lawful, or get something passed, like after a massive attack, say 9/11, and then they just start surveilling everybody for anything. Especially like, you think the surveillance is bad now, that's when someone from the NSA gets a word that's flagged, like if you say fucking pressure cooker or backpack or bomb or blow up or whatever. Imagine when AI can just run through it all. We don't have to have somebody go and manually review it and then kick it out or send it higher up. But AI is doing that whole first step. They can process a lot more shit. I don't know. It seems wild that that's the hill they want to die on. It's like, we told you we're only going to do legal stuff. Doesn't that help? And they're like, no, we want no mass surveillance of U.S. citizens, and we don't want autonomous killing machines without a human in the loop. Nope. We'll call you a threat to our nation instead, you pieces of shit.
People say Israel buys American politics.
Oh, this is a good one.
Politicians. Okay, let's look at the money.
This is a great video to understand Israel's involvement in our government, propaganda, and how it works. Let's break it down.
Here's who actually spends big in Washington. Israel, way down the list, with $14 million in 2024.
This is a common talking point that you will see come up a lot, that Israel's lobbying is only $14 million, making the claim that their influence is not that big. But that's not where
I'm trying to get so high up on a list that they have to have another list. That's just things that I've done.
Where the money comes from, and it's definitely not where the influence comes from.
So you say, okay, what about AIPAC?
So, by the way, this channel's called Honest Reporting.
Where does it rank domestically? 233rd place, $3.3 million.
Now, this is propaganda and how you twist the truth. AIPAC does give $3.3 million in lobbying, but lobbying is usually done when someone is already in power or after an election to change a law or policy. The thing is, AIPAC and pro-Israel organizations don't do that much lobbying. They do contributions. Contributions go directly to politicians to help them win elections. Now, knowing that in 2024, AIPAC gave $51 million in contributions to pro-Israel candidates and another $37 million outside funding, totaling $91 million from AIPAC in 2024 alone. This is just AIPAC.
So they're literally, this honest reporting is picking stats that make it look like fucking Israel's, like they don't do that much lobbying. They don't do that much, this. But that's not where the the majority of the money comes from, and that's not how they contribute the most. They're intentionally trying to make it look like Israel has no fucking sway compared to these other places.
It doesn't include many other organizations like J Street, Christians United for Israel, Zionist Organization of America, and many, many more. Some of these names will be very sneaky, like the United Democracy Project. You can't really tell what they are, but
pro-Israel
group specifically made to push pro-Israel candidates. And the reason why is because a lot of people know about AIPAC, so funding is now.
And if you're wondering about the channel named Honest Reporting, I wonder who they're funded by.
Now going through other channels. United Democracy Project spent $61 million to get pro-Israel candidates elected in 2024. Speaking of sneaky, this channel's name is Honest Reporting, and they're not reporting very honestly. So why is that? Because this company is an Israeli company, and its new CEO spent 15 years in AIPAC.
So the Honest Reporting channel that was reporting honestly that Israel doesn't have that much power, like it's blown way out of proportion. They don't have that much power in the U.S. fucking legislature. It's blown way out of reporting. Is an Israeli-based company, and their fucking CEO came from AIPAC.
Statements on their website tell us everything we need to know. From its inception, Honest Reporting has communicated primarily from its offices in Israel. The board recognized the need to develop our on-the-ground capabilities in the U.S. That is just
on-the-ground capabilities in the U.S. from Israel, with our CEO from AIPAC, who wants us to do a video that says that AIPAC doesn't have that much influence. They're like 233rd on the lobbying list. Hey.
Special words for, we are going to do propaganda in the U.S. to convince Americans to protect Israel.
Is that not fucking
People
wild?
say Israel buys American politicians. Okay, let's look at the money.
This is a great...
Jesus fucking Christ.
Let's break it down. So Reza Pahlavi...
This is allegedly Trump's pick to run Iran.
Let's break it down. So Reza Pahlavi is the son of the Shah of Iran, who was thrown out of Iran in early 1979, February of 1979, came into exile briefly in the United States. That led to the Iran hostage crisis. Then we forced him out to the Bahamas, and then to Panama, and then to Egypt, and he died in Egypt. Reza Pahlavi is the son. He was a young guy when this happened. He was, a teenager. Well, now he's in his 60s, and he's never been to Iran since the 1970s. He's also something of a playboy in the Washington area. He's not a player in Iranian exile circles, but he seems to have a whole lot of money. Well, over the last couple of weeks, several things have happened. Number one, the Israeli government spilled the beans, and they admitted that they have been financing him. So is he a Mossad asset? You bet he's a Mossad asset. Mossad is saying it. Number two, he doesn't know anything about contemporary Iran. Patrick Bet-David, the big podcaster, invited Reza Pahlavi to go on his podcast a week ago, and Reza never called him back. Never even...
So his dad was the last Shah of Iran from the 40s to like the late 70s, 79, I guess.
Tempted to, get his name out there, get his picture out there, talk about his view of a future Iran. He's not interested.
I think Israel's pushing this guy on Trump. And Trump has expressed doubts on whether he would be a good one or not, but apparently inside sources are saying, like, this is one of the finalists. Not that he will be the guy, but...
Donald Trump has been pressured by people on the neoconservative right to welcome Reza Pahlavi into the Oval Office.
Hell, he's speaking at CPAC this year.
He would be the person that the United States would announce is going to be, the guy that we're interested in.
Oh shit, that was my bad.
Let's break it down. I'm going to give you my own admittedly biased neoconservative right to welcome Reza Pahlavi.
Maybe even not the leader. Maybe he's like a temporary point person to get everything back on the road.
Into the Oval Office. He would be the person that the United States would announce is going to be, the guy that we're interested in. And Trump said, no, he's not interested. I'm going to give you my own admittedly biased view. My own view is Reza Pahlavi is a joke. He's a caricature, a cartoon character. He lives in a mansion all by himself in Potomac, Maryland.
You also have to understand that John Carricu, or whatever the fuck his name is, he's bought and paid for by Russia.
Pays any attention to him except these really rich Iranian exiles, most of whom are in Beverly Hills. The only people who really, really want him to be the leader of Iran are the Israelis. I'll add one other thing. As I said, the guy is...
He's not always wrong, but you just have to take his opinions with a grain of salt. When he got basically fucking kicked out of when he went to prison, right, and got kicked out of everywhere, the only people that would pay him money to talk were Russians.
Is a non-entity in Washington. He's a non-entity even in Iranian exile politics. But the Washington Post...
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope they don't let, the same group take over just down the line of secession and then kill a bunch of people who fucking did this, fucking led to this, the protests and the more liberal portions of their country.
Which is owned by Jeff Bezos and is the mouthpiece of the 1% of the 1%, ran an op-ed last week that Reza Pahlavi wrote. And he said that he wanted to go back to Iran to usher in a period of democracy. Like, what do you know about democracy? Your father was a fascist dictator who slaughtered his own people and who stole billions upon billions of dollars from the nation's treasury. So you think it should be you who goes back to Iran after 50 years and brings in a period of democracy? Come on, I'm insulted by that. So yeah, this guy's not going to be, I made a comment today kind of offhandedly, and the more I think about it,
his dad was very heavy-handed. His dad has I think it's his dad that has a famous quote that's like, when Iranians start acting like Swedes, then I'll act like the king of the Swedes, right? But until then, fuck these people up.
The more I believe it to be true. He wouldn't survive the walk from the plane to the terminal if he were to fly back to Iran. So he's not going to be the next leader of Iran. And yes, this is the CIA Mossad playbook for regime change. Yes, resist it. Let's break it down. So Reza Pahlavi is the son of the Shah of Iran who was thrown out of Iran in
John Carricu's fucking opinion of it, I guess.
When military drones were first created, they were almost exclusively used for reconnaissance and airstrikes.
We had a backpack deployable. So like you're doing a foot patrol and you come up to an area where you don't have recon, get it out, unfold it. It was a glider top. You throw it in the air, take the throttle all the way to as high as it'll go, throw it in the air. It's kind of loud when it's low to the ground, so you try to get it in the air early. Then you take it up high enough to where it's hardly using any power to stay in the air, and you could get recon from that.
But in the last
and it wasn't that loud. It was really lightweight. It really would glide well, and you barely had to use the engines at all once you were like up high enough. It wasn't too bad.
years, a new model of kamikaze drone warfare has emerged, spearheaded by Iran's Shahed drone. So what is the Shahed? How do they work? And how have they fundamentally changed modern warfare? Iran's first drones actually emerged during the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s, when Western sanctions prevented Iran's Islamic Revolution.
I would like to build a drone big enough to get like they're building drones big enough to put like a little gasoline engine on them. That's cool.
Guard Corps, or IRGC, from acquiring foreign reconnaissance equipment. Early efforts really didn't achieve very much, but in 2011, Iran captured a U.S. RQ-170 stealth drone, which gave it a massive leap forward. In 2019, the Shahed debuted in an attack on Saudi Arabia's largest oil processing facility that temporarily knocked out 5% of global oil production in a single attack. But the Shahed's impact on warfare and geopolitics doesn't come from advanced technology at all, but rather strategy and economics. A single Shahed 136.
It's called a Raven. Here it is. There's somebody launching one.
Export model costs between $20,000 and $50,000 to produce, but intercepting one requires weapons that cost between $500,000 and $4 million. And this cost asymmetry heavily favors attackers. Shaheds are also very small and difficult to detect due to their low speed and radar absorbing composites, but they have a long range still and carry big enough payloads to cause significant damage. They also use satellite navigation and pre-programmed coordinates for a fully autonomous operation, which allows large coordinated attacks to play out with minimal oversight, though this feature also happens to be disruptible by jamming. Russia has also found great value in these features while operating in Ukraine. In the first 6 months of the invasion, Russia didn't have access to Shaheds at all, but by October of 2022, Russia was using them against Ukrainian infrastructure, killing civilians in cities like Kyiv and devastating the power grid. The full deal with Iran reportedly included a $1.75 billion contract for 6,000 drones, plus technology transfer for Russia to produce their own Shahed variant. And as of mid-2025, Russia has been producing roughly 170 drones.
Yeah, the Raven weighs like 4.5 pounds. It's like fucking nothing. Carried in a backpack. You keep the wings separately usually on the outside of the backpack. Launch it by hands. Day, night vision. Yeah, it's not bad.
Daily, and has been able to increase their rate of attack as a result. The record for a single night attack is over 700 drones. Ukrainian energy infrastructure has been eroded by this, even with an interception rate of over 80%. And this has forced Ukraine to adapt with a combination of man-portable air defense systems, small arms, and...
This is an older video, but Iran launched a bunch of these at their neighbors as well.
And electronic warfare systems to jam satellite navigation. The most promising solution, though, might be Ukraine's new interceptor drones, which cost between $3,000 and $10,000 and have a roughly 70% shoot-down rate against Shaheds, reducing that cost asymmetry that I mentioned. But Iran and its proxies have also been using Shaheds themselves. Hezbollah has launched them against Israel, while the Houthis in Yemen have used them to disrupt commercial shipping in the Red Sea. And fundamentally, to sum things up, the Shahed has shown that kamikaze drones can be produced and operated really cheaply, and that traditional air defenses are insufficient at this point. When military drones were first created, they were almost exclusively used for reconnaissance.
Oh, God. What is this?
All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, Iran. Now, anybody who's watched my content, anybody who's seen me live knows that I was not in favor of us going to war in Iran. I wasn't even in favor of the original strikes back like 6 months.
Do you think there'll be excuses? You think he's gonna get some excuses?
Ago. And the reason for that is that I spent a decade of my life in the Middle East fighting for fucking nothing. And I didn't want the next generation of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to have to fucking do that. Now, if this operation goes like it's planned to go, that's not something I'll have to worry about, because the plan is for the United States to use its superior technology to basically bomb the ever-loving shit out of them, to destroy.
I think Congress just got a classified briefing on what's going on in Iran, and they came away saying they're more worried than ever that we're going to have boots on the ground in Iran.
All the strategic targets from the sky, and then turn it over to countries like Israel, and now Saudi Arabia, and UAE, and Qatar are talking about getting involved. But the goal is to turn it over to them and let them do the ground game. And I gotta say, I'm cool with that. If it's not U.S. soldiers on the ground, if it's not U.S. Marines.
He said he would. This is his red line. Like, he would stop supporting Trump if we went to fucking war with Iran. Now he's like, well, if we just bomb them a little bit, and then like, if we just bomb, that's fine with me.
And sailors and airmen that are putting their lives on the line, and it's the actual countries of the Middle East getting together and beating some ass. Yeah, I'm for that. So we'll see if it goes the way it's supposed to go. And if it does, I'm gonna be cool with it. But if we get to a point where we have divisions of the United States military on the ground fighting the IRGC, I'm not gonna support that. So yeah, let's see how it goes. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, Iran. Now, anybody who's watched my content, anybody who's seen me live knows that I was not in favor of us going to war in Iran.
Dude, he couldn't hold his fucking morals if his life fucking depended on it, dude. Congress, Iran briefing.
Do you believe that the American public is owed something more than a Twitter video?
Well, Margaret, I think an 8-minute address to the American people, whether the president posts it on social media or whether it happens on your network, is in keeping with presidential custom of addressing the American people. Again, I'm sure that he's going to be speaking more in coming days. The administration.
I wanted to see after they got out of the briefing.
Well, we did. We notified Congress. I mean, we notified the Gang of Eight. We notified congressional leadership. There's no law that requires us to do that. The law says we have to notify them 48 hours after beginning hostilities. We've done that. I think the notification went today. But we did notify members of Congress in advance. But we can't notify 535 members of Congress. The Congress can vote on whatever they want, but there's no law that requires us to do that. And I want to say something because I see people on TV. Look, that's fine. If they want to take a war powers vote, they can do that. They've done that. They've done that a bunch of times. But people keep saying that there's no law that requires the president to have done anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours, and we're here today. I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president, and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All that said, we've complied with the law 100%, and we're going to continue to comply with it. We've done the notification, and we officially to Congress, but we did notify members of Congress. We just can't notify 535 people. That's not possible, but we did the Gang of Eight twice. I briefed them last week, and then I called them the night before the operation.
Congress has the authority to declare war. Shouldn't it have authorized this war?
In my view, right now, our military and the commander-in-chief, he is presiding over the completion of an operation that was limited in scope, limited in its objective, and absolutely necessary for our defense. I think that operation will be wound up quickly. By God's grace, it will. That is our prayer for everybody involved, our troops and everyone else, and of course for the people of Iran, who are now rising up euphorically to have a chance for freedom, to have an evil, murderous regime removed. It is a great thing and a great time in history, and we're proud to be a part of it.
Is there any point you think Congress will need to congressional authorization?
So, you know my background. I'm a constitutional law attorney. I'm a jealous guardian of Article 1 and the legislative.
I bet you are.
Understanding of the law and has always been. And
you also said that they didn't need fucking judicial warrants to enter homes, remember?
The tradition and the way the law has been used and observed over many decades, the president was acting well within his authority. What I just told you is the scope of what happened here and the situational awareness that they had at the time to make this decision. It was not. It's not a declaration of war. It's not something that the president was required because it's defensive in nature and in design.
We're not even at war. This isn't war.
In necessity to come to Congress and get a vote first. And if they had briefed a larger group than the Gang of Eight, there's a real threat that very sensitive intelligence that we had, might have been leaked or something. So this is why the commander-in-chief,
especially if they'd have briefed Lauren Boebert, there's no telling what she would have done.
Armed Forces has the
put it on Snapchat or something.
That any commander-in-chief, any president always has, because they have a set of information that is sensitive, timely, and urgent, and they have to be able to act upon it. And they did that. Now, there, as you know, under our system, there are timetables that are involved here. But I think the idea that we would move a War Powers Act vote right now, it will be forced to the floor. But the idea that we would take the ability of our commander-in-chief, the president, take his authority away right now to finish this job is a frightening prospect to me. It's dangerous, and I am certainly hopeful, and I believe we do have the votes to put it down. That's going to be a good thing for the country and our security and stability.
Congress has There was no imminent threat to the United States of America by the Iranians. There was a threat to Israel. If we equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the United States, then we are in uncharted territory. There needs to be the proof of an imminent threat to American interest. I still don't think that standard has been met. I think the president needs to come before the Congress, and for that matter, the American people, and decide amongst these 4 or 5 goals that have been laid out, what is the real goal? What is the objective? What is our exit plan? What obligations do we have now to the Iranian people if they do rise up based upon his call for them to go to the streets? Let's also be clear. I said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America.
The same clip, I believe.
Threat to Israel. We've seen the goals, I believe, 4 or 5 times.
Mr. Speaker, is there at any point you think one of the interesting things that we're going to be watching this week is that there's actually going to be a vote on a war powers resolution?
Do you believe that the American...
I understand, to your point here, that
I want to give you an update on the situation in Iran. We've learned Congress will get its first set of briefings on the situation there on Tuesday. A White House official and
Senator Ali, I've interviewed you many times over many years, and you seem a bit, I guess, shaken might be the word. I mean, how do you feel right now when you see what's happening, when you see and hear what you were just briefed on, some of which I know is confidential and classified?
I just think that we didn't have to be here. I spent yesterday down in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, where 40% of the people I was talking to had sons and daughters and friends that were deployed on the Ford in these other ships where their loved ones are in harm's way and potentially future casualties, because there was acknowledgement today that there will be more casualties. And if I can't answer them, what's our goal? Why is my kid potentially going to be put in harm's way? What is America's overwhelming interest that my son or daughter is going to be in combat and may perish? For what? And I can't give them an answer? Yeah, that is very, very sobering to me.
Senator Ali,
I'm just going to make one quick point because I've got to hurry. Look, this is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people.
it's always bad news at any office when
Democrats stepping up their calls for congressional oversight. Congress
have said that they should have a role. They should be able to weigh in here. And there are going to be war powers resolutions.
You have called for Congress to return to Washington and to vote on whether to try to essentially halt this military action. No war powers resolution has ever overcome a presidential veto. Why do you think you need to take one?
Well, nobody in this country is asking for war with Iran. Just like months ago, no one in this country was asking for war with Venezuela. This president is intentionally tanking our economy. He's the most corrupt president in the history of our nation. And Americans want him to focus on the crises here at home. Instead, he is busy getting us involved in quagmires overseas that already are becoming deadly to American soldiers. This is a disaster. It is illegal. And the president is obligated under the Constitution to come to Congress and ask for an authorization of military force. He wouldn't get that authorization if he asked for it. Congress wouldn't vote to give him the permission to do it, but he's obligated to come to Congress.
The administration would argue Venezuela was a limited military operation. They're not explaining to the public yet beyond that Twitter video exactly what the plan is here, but the president has tweeted in a way describing this as an open-ended conflict until peace is achieved. You're using the term war. You do consider this to be a war.
Oh, of course. We are engaged in regular, ongoing military strikes that has already killed Americans.
We can make a pretty good excuse for Venezuela. Like, we got in, we got out, we're done.
Soldiers with the goal of regime change. If that is not war, what is? Now, the president has said that the goal is regime change, and the goal is to eliminate Iran's missile program and their nuclear program. He's not going to succeed in either of those endeavors. His intelligence agencies have already told him that the most likely outcome is that hardline members of the IRGC replace the current leadership. So we're not going to get a democracy. We're going to get an even worse Iranian leadership. We already know that you can't bomb their nuclear program out of existence. He told us last year that he'd obliterated the program, and then apparently over the course of the last year, they've gotten back to within a week. So we're going to have Americans dying, and the end result is going to be hardline leadership continues in Iran, and we don't get rid of their nuclear program. That's a moral and strategic disaster for the country.
You have called for.
Let's also be clear.
We are more than 24 hours into this, well more, and I think it's just important to understand the law. I heard the question about.
Your critics in Congress have said that
for over 40 years, the Iranian government and regime has been responsible for the deaths of thousands upon thousands of Americans, not to mention state-sponsored terrorism. And so did the president do the right thing? Has he been consistent in this? Absolutely.
Where, can you just tell me really quickly, where have they killed thousands of Americans in America?
I didn't say they killed thousands of Americans in America. I said that they have been responsible for thousands of Americans being killed. And I think that that's easily something that you can verify. I don't know, state-sponsored terrorism for starters. Are you serious right now about that whole thing? I'm not going to list out exact specific locations of literally responsible for sponsored terrorism.
Are you talking about the Iraq war?
Well, you can start out by the three that they just killed. Okay, the whole point of your network, if you want to actually.
Well, you can't say that. You can't say we attacked them because they've killed thousands of Americans, and you're like, well, which ones? Well, the three they just killed.
About the facts, I'm giving you the facts. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about something that's commonly accepted and known.
Congresswoman, you don't have a good understanding of the
conflict. Well, I'm the one saying the briefing's not you. You're pundit offering your opinion because you want clickbait, but are actually interested in the substance.
No, not at all.
We can talk about the fact that Obama sent millions upon millions of dollars to the Iranian regime, or do you not want to address that because it's not supported by your opinion and your network?
No, not at all.
Is this really even something that we're going to actually get to the future, or are you going to continue to practice?
No, it seems like you just want to filibuster. It seems like you don't really want to have a good faith conversation.
Or you just don't like what I'm saying.
No, we would have invited you on the air.
Every time I'm on with you.
Yeah, and you keep coming on every time, and you keep stating a lot of things that are incorrect. The United States launched an attack on Iran.
Except for you.
The United States launched a war against Iran right now. Iran retaliated, in which American members. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, the Iranians responded and killed 3 American service members. So what we're trying to get at is you make an assertion on this air that it's not an invasion when America sends fighter jets and Israel sends fighter jets into another country.
Boots on the ground are not going to happen. Congress will not vote on war with Iran because that is not something that we support, and that is not something that the administration
That's actually
supports.
what the Constitution says that in Article 1, but I guess you think Article 2 is more important.
Article 2 is when the U.S. citizens and our military are in direct imminent threat, the president reserves the authority.
Yeah, well, he hasn't made that case to the American public or Congress, and that's the problem, and that's why he's supposed to go to Congress.
He's not going to give you classified intelligence
information. He's not supposed to give it to me. He's supposed to give it to members of Congress. He's supposed to go give it to members of Congress. That's exactly why members of Congress. You're only one. There are 435 members and 100 senators, and others have not gotten it. You're not the only one who gets to speak on behalf of the American people.
Prior to the strike.
Anyway, unfortunately, we're out of time.
Actually
really appreciate you coming on.
There we go. You don't want to hear the facts. They got a briefing.
It's not a fact. I'm telling you what other members of Congress have said, and that's the whole point of them being able to have a debate in Congress.
Congress was notified.
That's not what members of Congress say, but really appreciate you coming on here and saying something different. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna.
For 40.
Look, my family lives in Tel Aviv. My aunt and uncle and cousin literally are protecting me from the bomb shelter. So, I take Israel security very seriously. It's literally my family. And Bibi Netanyahu has literally been trying to get presidents from both parties to do a regime change operation in Iran with him for decades. Donald Trump is just the first one stupid enough to actually do it.
All right, Congressman Sarah Jacobs, really appreciate having you on this episode.
In Congress you serve with, Ilhan Omar, responding to you on X, saying, I hope you aren't drunk, and took your staff's advice. Rashida and I, Tlaib, of course, don't know this man and feel confident he didn't care about us. Please restrain from drinking.
Second question I've been asked.
This is not Iraq.
I have one word only. I advise to the representative of the United States to be polite. It will be better for yourself and the country you represent. Thank you.
The representative of the United States is after the floor to make a further statement.
Frankly, I'm not going to dignify this with another response, especially
it's UN.
As this representative sits here in this body representing a regime that has killed tens of thousands of its own people and imprisoned many more simply for wanting freedom from your tyranny. Thank you, Mr. President.
I have one more.
I understand to your point here. The American people also want to know.
Hey, everyone.
This is not classified, so I'll tell you what I think is important. Israel was determined to act in their own defense here, with or without American support, because Israel.
Fine. Get it. Go. Hey, we're going to do it either way. Well, we better get on board with that.
Was determined to act in their own defense here, with or without American support. Because Israel was determined to act with or without the U.S., our commander-in-chief and the administration and the officials I just named had a very difficult decision to make. They had to evaluate the threats to the U.S., to our troops, to our installations, to our assets in the region and beyond.
So the threat was not Iran to the U.S. It was Israel pissing off Iran and potentially causing. Sounds like we should have fucked up Israel.
And they determined, because of the exquisite intelligence that we had, that if Israel fired upon Iran and took action against Iran to take out the missiles, then they would have immediately retaliated against U.S. personnel and assets. This is not classified, so
Thank you.
Same shit I said. Can we not play this video? No.
Do you support limited strikes, or would you support boots on the ground if necessary for regime change?
Well, I'm listening, as I think, and observing, obviously, to the descriptions of the circumstances on the ground. I think you've seen significant accumulation of assets in that region, and I think that is in response to a belief that there is a national security interest.
If there was really such a threat to our personnel and assets in that area, why did we move more personnel and assets into that area?
Involved here when it comes to not only our homeland, but also
on the border between Iran and Iraq. There are these air defense stations, these air defense towers. And if you fly close enough, still in Iraqi airspace, but if you fly close enough to them, you can literally see them tracking you. Not firing, but they'll track you. And it'll track you as soon as it picks you up. It'll start tracking you. It's fucking freaky as hell. It'll track you all the way until the next station picks you up, and then that station will start tracking. And you can just watch them fucking pointing missiles at you while you fucking fly by.
A lot of our allies in the region. And I think that the president, I don't know that he's made any decisions.
You're good. Thank you, Foul Runner.
I think that he is preparing for contingencies and is pursuing his policy of peace through strength and working with allies.
I need to wrap up anyway.
That we prevent Iran from ever having a nuclear capability. But they also have a lot of conventional.
Is it nuclear capability? Is it conventional threats? Is it threats they make to Israel? Is it fucking regime change? Is it fucking protesters? What the fuck is the reason?
Abilities that represent a threat, certainly to the neighborhood and to a lot of our allies. So I think working through that, and but I don't have anything more to report on that.
Do you support? I had two questions.
You know, it's Monday after everything went down this weekend with Iran. What do you think is the likelihood that we're going to end up with boots on the ground over there? I think that's kind of what people are scared of, like our troops.
I have no idea.
We have some major news right now. Donald Trump is not ruling out putting boots on the ground in Iran this morning as he tells Jake Tapper, quote, "The big wave is yet to come." Clearly, things are escalating, not de-escalating in the region. Trump spoke with the New York Post this morning, not ruling out putting boots on the ground if necessary, saying that the operation was, quote, way ahead of schedule, and proceeding to say, quote, "I don't have the yips with respect to boots on the ground." Like every president says, there will be no boots on the ground. I don't say it. I say probably don't need them, or if they were necessary. Now, meanwhile, he told Jake Tapper that a big wave is set to come. What that means is unclear. What it does mean is that strikes will increase in Iran, likely over the next day to several days, not decrease, as the United States continues its bombing campaign.
Why is the Trump administration so hostile to reporters?
You smell that? Yeah, smell.
Why is the Trump administration so hostile to reporters?
Are there currently any American boots on the ground in Iran? No, but
I don't know, because they're fucking dickheads. They're pieces of shit.
Why is the Trump administration so hostile to reporters?
Are there currently any American boots on the ground in Iran? No, but we're not going to go into the exercise of what we will or will not do. I think it's one of those fallacies for a long time.
So we're so fucking. I know everybody always gets scared about a draft at different times. We're so fucking far away from a draft. Like we'd have to be in such a shitty fucking spot to draft. I seriously, the time you start worrying about it is when we're bogged down in like a fucking 3-year war, and it's just we're fucking killing each other like crazy, like Russia in Ukraine, right? Russia thought they'd overrun Ukraine, then they get bogged down, and it's just a slaughter fest. That's when you have to start worrying about a draft. Any type of other war, like I mean, we spent 20 plus years in Iraq, and we didn't have a draft. You know what I mean? Like we're so fucking far. Our army's just so fucking massive compared to most countries. If for some reason we start fighting with fucking China and it's something that's like, oh, this is the 3rd anniversary and we're losing 60,000 people a day, that's when I would fucking worry.
That this department or presidents or others should tell the American people, and our enemies, by the way, here's exactly what we'll do.
And you'll see a recall first, right? That if you ever see a recall, like they start not just, so officers can be recalled for life. But if you start seeing not just like IRR guys or National Guard guys and people that, if you start seeing a recall, like, hey, the Army wants fucking people that have been out for 3+ years, 5+ years or whatever, they need people with experience back. That's when you would start to worry about a draft as the next step.
We'll go. Here's exactly how far we'll go. Here's what we're willing to do and not do. It's foolishness. And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go as far as we need to go to advance American interests.
Hegseth says it's a fallacy to tell the American people exactly what we're going to do. But Hegseth works for the president, who works for the American people. So I don't think it's really a fallacy to tell the public exactly how far we're going to go. Exactly. Hey, are we going to be invading Iran with American soldiers on the ground? Don't ask that. And two, Hegseth.
It is a fucking slap in the face. Like, it's our sons and daughters, motherfucker. Like, we all know fucking service members or service member families or through a couple degrees of separation. We can't tell the enemy. We want to fucking know, bitch.
Answered the question anyway. That's what I meant at the start. Why does he have to be so rude to the reporters? The reporter asks a reasonable question. Are we willing to put boots on the ground? And Hegseth says this thing at the start. It's a fallacy for us to tell the American people what we're going to do. But then he goes on and answers the question. He says we're going to go as far as necessary. He could have just said that in response to the reporter. Are we going to put boots on the ground? Well, we're going to go as far as necessary. So
it's almost like they want to be so fucking hostile in their questions, or their answers, they don't even fucking think them through. You should never say, we'll go as far as necessary, because what that brings up in people's minds is the absolute worst case scenario, right? The absolute worst. They're thinking, we got a draft and fucking Rosie the Riveter's back building fucking composite drones in a factory and shit. Like, they're going to think the word. Instead, you say, we do not foresee anything like that. Absolutely not. Are we just going to roll over and give up? No. But we should be able to we'll try everything feasible first. But you can't with Trump because he's a fucking loose cannon, right? He'll tell you today, like, no, we're not putting, I think we can put 100,000 troops in Tehran.
Seth gets asked, hey, are we willing to put boots on the ground? He says, oh, I'm not going to tell you, but yes, we are. And then he says, we're not dumb. And I think it's never a great sign when you have to tell people that you're not dumb.
As far as we need to go to advance American interests. But we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years.
So those are the limits. 200,000 people in 20 years. Look, I'm not going to tell you how far we'll go, but we'll go as
about 100,000 people in 12 years.
As we need to, but we're not.
And by the way, did anybody think that we were going to end up sending millions of people to Iraq for 25 goddamn years? No, because that's never the fucking plan, right? We took over the entire nation of Iraq so fucking quick. What we didn't expect is all these fucking hidden pockets of this and people in fucking tunnels and goddamn fucking roadkill to start fucking exploding and shit like that, right?
Going 200,000 people or 20 years. According to Trump, through press secretary.
We couldn't get it to a stable, we're pulling out, because every time we thought we were getting to a stable, we took over fucking Baghdad in a few fucking days, then we'd have to do a goddamn thunder run because people come out of the fucking woodworks with AKs. Where the fuck did they come from? We don't know.
Caroline Leavitt, one of our goals is to guarantee that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. How are we going to guarantee they can never obtain a nuclear weapon? Never sounds like kind of an ongoing goal, kind of a long-term goal. So we're not going to stay there long-term, but we're going to guarantee that they can never get a nuclear weapon. I also noticed this goal stopped them from making and using IEDs. The I in IED.
What's a thunder? You guys don't know about the thunder runs? Well, I don't know how old you are. The greatest goddamn thing the U.S. has ever invented. I was in a Boy Scout troop that got lost in the Poconos for 6 weeks. I don't know if that counts.
On the 21st of March 2003, the US 3rd Division crossed the Kuwaiti border into Iraq as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. By the 4th of April, 3rd Division had advanced some 400 kilometers into central Iraq and was now standing at the gates to the capital.
What most people don't tell you is that, well, they might, I don't know. Most people fail to mention this. The goal here was the Army was going to come in from the west, and the Marine Corps was supposed to come in from the east, okay, of Baghdad, and that was the plan, and we're going to fucking meet in the middle. The Army come up the west side of Iraq and had basically, we just didn't see a whole lot of people, right? And everybody we did see, we just fucked them up almost instantly and just kept on fucking trucking. So we got to Baghdad like weeks before the Marine Corps hit all these little fucking towns that had like entrenched fighters in it, right? They couldn't make it. So we got there like fucking weeks early. And the plan just like, oh shit, well, new plan.
City of Baghdad, with its 2nd Brigade holding the vital highway intersection at Rashid, whilst 1st Brigade had a foothold on the city's airport. However, as preparation...
A thunder run is freedom delivered, precisely.
...are being made for the final offensive into the capital, US intelligence had no clear picture regarding the state of Iraqi defences in the city. Pre-invasion reports had suggested the fight for Baghdad to be the toughest phase of the ground campaign, but now, in early April, as the US Army's official history details,
It's basically, yeah, we just roll armor in and start fucking shit up.
imagery and other reports inexplicably showed almost no preparations within the city. There were numerous small fighting positions, but none of the deliberate defences that common sense and Iraqi doctrine indicated. Intelligence and field reports painted a picture of mixed units thrown haphazardly into the fray with little command and control. It was unclear whether Baghdad was a trap, a clever ruse, or hollow shell. This uncertainty regarding the opposition he was expected to encounter led to Major General Buford Blount, commander 3rd Division, to order an armoured raid into Baghdad to test the response of the enemy forces. Meeting on the 4th of April with Colonel David Perkins, commander 2nd Brigade, Major General Blount outlined the plan for the forthcoming raid, which envisioned sending an armoured task force up Highway 8 into central western Baghdad, before looping round and linking up the 1st Brigade at the airport. Once briefed,
The goal is to not stop, not get bogged down, not get drawn into a long, drawn-out fight. We're just driving through with armor. There's not much they can do to really fuck it up, and we're going to blast anything that fucking moves with an attitude.
Colonel Perkins assigned the 1st Battalion of the 64th Armoured Regiment under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Eric Schwartz the task of carrying out the mission. Despite having some misgivings with the plan, Lieutenant Colonel Schwartz moved on with preparations, and by the next morning had assembled a task force consisting of an array of armoured vehicles, including 29 M1 Abrams tanks and 14 M2 Bradley armoured fighting vehicles. Selected to spearhead the raid, which was dubbed the Thunder Run, would be 1st Battalion's A Company, followed closely behind by C Company, which in turn was to be tailed by C Company of the 3rd Battalion, the 15th Regiment, which was temporarily attached to the 1st Battalion, the 64th Armoured. Commencing at 0630 on the 5th of April 2003, the task force, led by A Company, moved up Highway 8 and into the suburbs of Baghdad.
There's actual footage of these.
Positions, starting on both sides of the highway, began to open up.
Oh, there it is.
Returning far with their turret-mounted armaments, the American troops not only had the enemy to deal with, but also had to be wary of the level of civilian activity occurring on Highway 8, which the official history notes. Civilians continued to use the highway, sharing it with 1st Battalion and occasionally the enemy.
I've never in my life seen anything like Iraqi drivers. I've never in my life, like, we'd be taking small arms fire and fucking IEDs and mortars, and some motherfucker in a pickup truck with like 15 guys hanging out of the back of it would be trying to like cut us off and get through going to town and shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Just laying on the fucking horn, won't stop for anybody. You block the road and fire warning shots, they go off in the desert, making a loop. They're just swinging wide. They all have somewhere to be. I don't know.
Determining which traffic was hostile and which was not required patience and courage throughout the run. Generally, if traffic was joining the highway, the troops fired warning shots, causing the drivers to turn around abruptly. But traffic passing on the opposite side of the highway had to be assessed and trail units advised, avoiding harm to civilians who had no idea.
They hadn't really, IEDs weren't as bad as they were, as they got later on in the war. It got to a point to where if you saw a divot, or you saw fucking trash, or you saw a animal carcass, or you saw a wet spot, or you saw people with cameras around, you had to fucking call EOD. They had to come out. They had to use their big fucking spatula to dig up part of the road. Like, it got so bad. Everything near the road exploded. Everything had a bomb in it. If it didn't explode, it's because their fucking detonators were bad. There was still a bomb in it.
That the Americans had arrived in Baghdad.
And the whole country is just fucking full of trash, right? So it's not like driving down our interstate and you see a dead deer or some shit, and you're like, wow, that's weird, out of the ordinary. Like, there's just pile of trash here, pile of trash there, dead animal here, broke down car there. Like, everything is trash, and it's all full of bombs.
Proved impossible.
You just get to the point where you expect everything to explode.
In the event, some civilians became injured in the crossfire, while others accidentally crashed their car.
Look, fucking dude's like, I gotta be at work, bro. The fuck? Look. Dude in a fucking Toyota is just like, fuck it. I got places to be.
into some of the American armored vehicles, including one which was carrying an Iraqi army colonel, who it later transpired was the head of logistics for the Baghdad sector. He was quickly taken into custody.
Fuck it!
War.
Fuck it! That guardrail won't stop me.
On deeper into Baghdad, a call went out that one of the Abrams tanks, commanded by Staff Sergeant Jason Diaz, had been hit and immobilized by an Iraqi anti-tank weapon. 1st Battalion Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Eric Schwartz recalls, "The Abrams got hit hard in an area that made the whole task force vulnerable at a key overpass, where we had taken a lot of fire. I had to decide if we should go to ground and provide security and allow for the tank to be recovered, or do we abandon the tank and keep going?"
Thermite that motherfucker. Let's go.
Lieutenant Colonel Schwartz decided for the tank to be recovered, and over the next 20 or so minutes, elements of the task force provided protection for the recovery.
Recovering vehicles is a good time to get fucking hit, dude. A great time to get hit.
The static American vehicles presented easy targets for the Iraqis, who sent in hundreds of infantrymen in a bid to capitalize on the situation. This, combined with the fact that the crew was struggling to extinguish the flames, led to the abandonment of the Abrams, and after important items were salvaged from the wreck, its crew of 4, 2 of whom had become wounded, were picked up by an M113 armored personnel carrier. Later, an airstrike was called onto the Abrams to prevent it from being salvaged or taken as a prize by the Iraqi army. Resuming on its way up Highway 8.
You pull all the there's a procedure. You pull all the sensitive equipment, and then there's you got thermite grenades that you put on. Depending on what vehicle you're in, that you're gonna melt the fucking tracks off of it, and the sprocket drive wheels and shit like that on a tank.
The armored column
melt the fucking turret to the fucking body.
Was meeting increasingly stiff enemy opposition as additional Iraqi reinforcements poured towards the highway, including BMP infantry.
These were the Thunder runs. It was in the early days of the war. Some of them were like more of like show of force. Here's a good video of one.
Game where you can players at a time can subscription on their next mission. I cannot think of a better group of men to execute this raid. Your courage and professionalism has been obvious to all over the last few days. So,
good animation, I guess.
Questions. I suggest we all get our heads down and get as much sleep as possible. The men disperse back to their tanks to rest when they hear a nearby explosion. Thanks to the non-stop work of British AS-90 artillery guns, most of the Scots DG believe they are merely picking an inopportune time to shell the enemy defences around Basra.
So they heard explosions outside of Basra, and they thought that the British were just shelling the city because they had been shelling the city off and on.
However, a second explosion lands directly in the middle of A Squadron's camp,
and then boom,
DG scrambling for cover. This is followed in quick succession by 38 more explosions. An Iraqi BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launcher has found the range and is hitting the British position. A fuel tanker takes a direct hit and explodes, while soft-skin Bedford trucks are torn apart by shrapnel. Major Brown and his loader make a break for their Challenger 2.
You guys realize that we underestimated like IEDs and fucking roadside bombs and shit so much that at the invasion we were sending unarmored Humvees. We were sending fucking fiberglass goddamn Humvees and shit. Like they didn't. You would run a mission and then you'd come back to the fucking base. And hopefully you had some armor that had been destroyed, and you would get out cutting torches and welders and shit and sandbags and armor your own Humvee. You would put metal plates down in the floorboards, in the door skins, whatever you could if you had doors. And then you would put sandbags like underneath your seat and underneath your feet and shit in case anything blew up from the bottom. Hopefully it would catch the shrapnel and you wouldn't fucking die in it.
2 men clamber into the tank and shut the hatch tight while the barrage continues. After a minute, the explosions die down and the British tank crewmen gingerly exit their cover. Despite the heavy bombardment, only 3 men have been wounded and none seriously. Sensing that his men are eager to get back at the enemy, Major Brown puts his headset on and informs A Squadron, Charlie, this is 0 Alpha, raiding party, prepare to move out at 0200 Zulu time. A loud cheer goes up as the Scots DG again prepare to move out. Since the city was cut off on the 24th of March, slowly but surely, the British 1st Armoured Division has been tightening the perimeter around Basra. Although the coalition's overwhelming firepower will almost certainly result in victory, the British are facing more enemy resistance than originally anticipated. Although Basra is surrounded and Iraqi forces are taking heavy casualties, Saddam Hussein's local commander, Ali Hassan al-Majid, has managed to hold the city through fear and intimidation. Nicknamed Kamikaze.
This isn't even Americans. This is the Royal Scots, which is the fucking the Royal Regiment or whatever.
Ali by the press. Al-Majid rules Basra with the fanatical Fedayeen militia, who often commit atrocities against innocent civilians.
these guys, all I could think about was that movie Spaceballs. Look at this helmet.
On the 27th of March, Fedayeen fighters indiscriminately fired into a crowd of civilians fleeing through a humanitarian corridor, killing or wounding several, including women and children. In response, the 1st Armored Division has planned a show of force to dissuade the Fedayeen from attacking the
So the Thunder Runs are like a show of force.
Humanitarian corridor.
Sometimes it's to draw fire. Sometimes it's to test their defense systems. Other times, you know, it's to just go in and blow up a bunch of shit and be like, hey, we can do this. Don't forget.
A Squadron, with a platoon from Bravo Company 1st Black Watch, will strike into Basra through the main dual carriageway known as Route Red. A Squadron's Challenger 2s will stop just short of the narrow, maze-like streets of Old Town and destroy 3 targets: the city's main TV and radio mast, the Fedayeen's headquarters, and a massive statue of Saddam Hussein. Once these objectives...
So literally, they're just going in to destroy a enemy headquarters, which is a valid target, a TV mast that they've been broadcasting from, and a big Saddam Hussein fucking statue right here at this like central location, and then they're coming back the fuck out.
...are eliminated. The column will turn around.
How do you even sleep? I don't.
...and withdraw the same way they came in. A BBC reporter will be embedded with A Squadron to show the British public that Saddam's attacks on civilians will not be tolerated. While the Thunder runs into Baghdad later in the campaign will receive much coverage, the first Thunder run...
I saw a guy in a... You guys know what a fucking like deuce and a half is, right? A 2.5 ton army truck. They're called something different now. We call them LMTVs or whatever, but the name sticks. I saw a guy in the back of one of these, so the bed of one of these, in a fucking office chair that they'd taken the wheels off of and ratchet strapped it to the bed, and a 50 cal with a tripod mount that you're supposed to like mount on the ground and like an encampment, and that was a gun truck. We just used that as a gun truck. Like the guy was just sitting in the back of this fucking truck with a 50 cal.
...of Operation Iraqi Freedom will be conducted by the Scots DG in Basra.
And then went towards the end how we had fucking remote controlled fucking systems that like you just lay down in the back of the fucking Humvee and fucking play it like a video game with a 50 cal.
Sets off towards the line of departure just before dawn on the 29th of March. The assault will be made by 11 Challenger 2s of A Squadron, with 4 Warrior infantry fighting vehicles carrying a platoon from Bravo Company of the Black Watch following closely behind. A tank recovery vehicle and 2 ambulances will bring up the rear of the formation.
There's a funny story about this. I don't know if this is in it, but they had an engineering company, okay? Let me see if I can find this picture. Hold on. There's a really funny story with this, and I don't know if they'll cover it. They had an engineering vehicle. Engineering vehicles don't have guns, right? They're armored, but they're there in case you break down to like recover your vehicle, maybe fix it. They've got the ability to weld and all kinds of shit on it, right? He just showed it and called it a recovery vehicle. They were under strict orders to just be there, try not to take any fire, and be ready to recover vehicles. They decided to sneak in a bunch of fucking shotguns and devise flaps that they could shoot through during this Thunder run. Hold on. And took a bunch of 12-gauge shotguns and made it into a fighting vehicle to engage the enemy. They had some 240 Bravos, some 12-gauge shotguns, and like fucking 3 or 4 slings of grenades. Let's see if he talks about it. Hold on.
The tanks will advance in a staggered formation with 6 Challenger 2s covering the left side of the road, while 5 will deal with resistance on the right. With this raiding force ready, Major Brown counts down the time to H hour. At 5 a.m., Brown...
They were supposed to hold back, and they did not. They charged forward.
...and transmits to the rest of his unit. Charlie 1, this is 0 Alpha. 3, 2, 1. Move now. With this, the armoured column surges forward and crosses the bridge in front of them. The raid has begun. After crossing the bridge...
There was a guy hanging out the top hatch with a 12-gauge shotgun, and they had 2 machine guns on board.
...down the highway through the wasteland which separates the bridge from Basra's city limits. Hearing the roar of tank engines, Iraqi army and Fedayeen militia defending the main route into the city quickly ready their defences. As the British column approaches the outskirts of the city, they are hit with a wave of machine gun and RPG fire from both sides of the road. The warriors and support vehicles stop short of the Iraqi kill zone, while the challengers continue forward, returning fire with their coaxial machine guns. Most of the Iraqi RPGs miss, but the British tankers are amazed by the solid wall of fire greeting them. The tanks pass through the heart of the kill zone, with Major Brown carefully controlling the pace of the advance, mindful of not moving too fast or too slow. Despite orders not to take part in combat, the recovery vehicle is also returning fire.
The recovery vehicle that doesn't have any weapons, they were ordered not to take part in combat and stay short. The recovery vehicle that doesn't have any weapons is somehow returning fire.
The Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, or REME, have smuggled 2 extra men and an extra general-purpose machine gun into their vehicle.
They've smuggled 2 men and extra machine guns and a guy out the hatch with a 12 gauge. And they're just fucking shooting all kinds of shit.
Using their GPMGs, engineers, or REME, have smuggled 2 extra men and an extra general-purpose machine gun into their vehicle. 2 REMEs fire back using their GPMGs, while another leans out of his hatch and picks off hostiles with a pump-action shotgun.
That's funny.
Of the Scots DG recalled joking that their engineers must have a screw loose, but now they have their proof. The armoured column continues along the main road into Basra, as British and Iraqi tracers zip through the heavy morning mist. After an intense 5 minutes in combat, the Iraqi fire slackens, as the Scots DG make it through the kill zone without any casualties. Now, the column splits up, as the Challenger 2s seek out their targets. Captain Steve Walters takes the 3 tanks of 2nd Troop forward into the heart of the city to destroy the statue of Saddam Hussein. Lieutenant Ed O'Brien's 4th Troop and Staff Sergeant Tiffy Hanson's 3rd Troop stick together to engage the TV antenna and Fedayeen headquarters, which are across the street.
Sometimes you'll have show of force missions where they're just like, hey, you know, they're getting kind of rowdy. They forgot, you know, we can just fuck shit up. And they'll just send you out to like fucking blow up this goddamn empty building and shit.
Captain Walter's 2nd Troop accelerates ahead of the main column and disappears into the city towards the statue, just as the other tanks reach their objectives. The 8 remaining tanks drive towards their targets, while Iraqi fire picks up again. Once they arrive at their respective objectives, the Challengers drive forwards and backwards to present the nearby Iraqis with a moving target. Sergeant Will Montgomery's Challenger is engaged by a heavy machine gun atop a 40-foot watchtower next to the TV antenna. Montgomery sends a single HESH round into the watchtower, which shatters and collapses to the ground. All Challenger 2s on the right-hand side of the road open up on the TV antenna, pounding the base with their main guns, while the 3 Challengers on the left suppress the Fedayeen's headquarters with HESH rounds and machine gun fire. Enemy fire from the building begins to slacken as the defenders are killed or forced to flee by the tanks. The HESH rounds punch massive holes in the building, so large that Challenger 2s could fit through the openings. The 3-story headquarters is obliterated within minutes, as most of the enemy fighters flee the position. Meanwhile, Captain Walters and 2nd Troop have reached the statue of Saddam Hussein, having blasted their way through a hail of RPG fire.
HESH is high explosive squash head.
Arrive at the statue, 2nd Troop wastes no time in getting to work. Corporal David Ross is tasked with destroying the statue, while the rest of the Challenger 2s quickly set up.
The head squishes down and conforms to the shape of whatever they're shooting at before it explodes. It delivers especially up against armor, it delivers a much stronger fucking blast.
A loose defensive perimeter. On Captain Walter's command, Corporal Ross sends a single HESH round into the base, causing Saddam's likeness to collapse face first into the ground. After towering over Basra for decades, the statue is no more. With only the Iraqi dictator's boots now sticking out of the base, Walters and 2nd Troop begin their withdrawal to rejoin the main column. Meanwhile, the shells of the 5 Challenger 2s assaulting the TV antenna can't seem to destroy the thin wire metal structure despite the heavy stream of firepower. Major Brown is frustrated at the delay and considers calling in an airstrike, but worries that the failure in bringing down a simple TV mast would be a propaganda victory for the Iraqis. Instead, he orders his loader to switch from HESH rounds, which are usually used against softer targets, to a thin armor-piercing round. The gunner, Corporal Vince McLeod, aims for the iron corner supports, which measure only 6 inches wide. Despite the din of battle, McLeod coolly hits all 3 supports with precise shots, causing the 300-foot-tall TV tower to list before smashing into the ground. A cheer goes up among the men as Major Brown transmits, 0, this is Hotel 10 Alpha, all targets destroyed, withdrawing in contact. With 2nd Troop having rejoined the rest of A Squadron, all 11 Challengers and the recovery vehicle reverse back through the kill zone. Despite the resumption of heavy enemy fire, every vehicle in the column will return to the line of departure without damage.
So that's a Thunder Run. That wasn't even the U.S. doing it, but the Thunder Runs in Baghdad, there were a few different ones that are very famous and have footage of them.
Fedayeen, as well as Saddam's propaganda machine in Basra, has been severely degraded. Although the 29th of March raid into Basra has been a major public relations victory for the British.
All right. That's it, I guess. I don't know. What time is it? Yeah, I talked too long about military stuff. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. If you want to support the show, you guys know how to do it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm gonna hop off here and I'll see everybody on the next one. We'll probably be back tomorrow night. Liam has a couple of home games. He's got one Thursday, and then the other one's like next week on Tuesday, I think. But I should still be in here for a show. Either way, thank you all for joining us tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me, listening to me bitch, and then war stories, I guess. You guys have a good night. We'll see everybody in the next one. Love you. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on Cox that came first. 9th inning, 2nd string, and they acting like they know hitters. Ass on stolen bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reason with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird, motherfuckers out here busting the grip.
Have a good night, guys.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage.